Dr. Olivia Moses, and welcome to Wellness Live, brought to you by the Living Whole Wellness Program in the Department of Risk Management here at Loma Linda University Health. How many of you know that you should be exercising? Do I see a few hands go up out there? I think we all know that we should be getting exercise, and especially cardiovascular exercise. Well, I'm very excited today about our special guest. Dr. Ronald Ray. He is a professor over in the School of Allied Health Professions, and he has been here for almost 20 years, so he knows a thing or two about exercise, and he is one of the authorities here on our campus on exercise and related activities. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Ronald Ray.
What if I told you there was a prescription that could prevent and treat dozens of diseases? What if I told you that one prescription was free? What if I told you that prescription was available to everybody? Dr. Butler said if exercise could be packed in a pill, it would be the most widely prescribed and beneficial medicine in the nation. Dr. Butler was the former director of the National Institute on Aging, and he knew a thing about exercise and how it is used in medicine. And that's what I want to talk to you today about, is how exercise can be used as medicine. So I'm going to introduce you to an organization that was created by a group of health professionals to help use exercise to be part of the medical profession. They created it to improve physical fitness, or use physical fitness to be used as actually a prescription for improved health. They also used it to help communication between the clinician, the personal trainer, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and the medical profession, doctors, nurses, as well as communicating to the patients or the community via internet, Twitter, Facebook. And so they created this thing called Exercise is Medicine. I'll talk a little bit about this at the end of the lecture, but I want to introduce you to this concept at this point. So exercise really is medicine. What benefits do we gain from exercise? There are hundreds of benefits, but a few of the main ones, besides treating dozens of diseases, it really improves our heart and lung function, our aerobic capacity. It improves our mood. It helps people with depression, anxiety, stress. You rarely see an unhappy exerciser. It improves and helps maintain our ideal body weight. We can use it to improve muscle tone. And with improved muscle tone, we have an increase in our resting metabolic rate, which is really how our body burns calories throughout the day. And then it improves our ability to perform ADLs. We call those activities of daily living. These are things that you do throughout the day that at one time may have seemed difficult, but with exercise and physical fitness, they're going to seem much easier, and we are less exhausted at the end of the day. In the health field, we have a pyramid or a little diagram that we call the activity pyramid. In a previous lecture, I talked about the resistance training part of this activity pyramid, but today I want to get started on aerobic exercise. The first problem with Americans is that we sit too much. We need to just start getting up and doing things. Spend less time sitting, spend less time watching TV, spend less time on the computer, video games, and we have something that we call sitting disease. This is basically, I actually couldn't find the reference for this, but it's been said that being inactive and sitting sedentary lifestyle is just as bad as for your health as smoking. The National Health and Nutritional Examination Surveys did a survey, and they found out that the average American sits for over 6 hours a day. The 20 to 35% of Americans watch more than 4 hours of television a day. So we are spending a lot of time sitting. We can actually increase our lifespan simply by sitting less. If we can decrease our sitting time to just half of the American average, to less than 3 hours a day, we can add 2 years to our life. If we can spend half of the time watching television, less than 2 hours a day, we can add approximately 1.5 years to our life. So sitting, getting away from sitting and being more active is going to be the start to physical fitness. Going down to the more bumping it up a notch, we are going to, now we're not sitting anymore. What do we do with that non-sitting time? These are things what we call physical activity. It's not a structured program, but it's just things that you do every day that promote physical activity, moving more. Instead of sitting less, or instead of sitting, we want to sit less and move more. So these are things like parking further away from the office, parking further away when you go shopping at the grocery store, taking the stairs at work instead of the elevator. Just simple things every day that we can do to increase our activity level. It's not a structured program, it's just moving more. How much do we need to move? Well, we got the National Heart, Lung, Blood Institute, as well as the Center for Disease Control, as well as physical fitness trainers, American College of Sports Medicine. They're all wanting and recommending that we exercise a minimum of 30 minutes a day. Now, this 30 minutes does not have to be done all at once. It can be done accumulative in at least 10-minute bouts where you can exercise at a moderate intensity, enough to get that heart rate going, for at least 10-minute bouts or 2 15-minute bouts. But you can go through your day. There's a group of employees here at the university that they get together at their morning break, and they go down the hill, walk around the hill, and then walk back up the hill. And it takes them about 10 to 15 minutes. And they do that on their morning break, and they do that on their afternoon break. And so they accumulate 30 minutes. Or you may want to do it all in one bout in a day. You're a go-getter, you want to just do it all at once. At lunch break, right after work, right before work, if you're a morning person. You can exercise and be more active. Go for a walk, a bike ride, walk your dog, go for a light run. But it needs to be moderate intensity, get the heart rate going, and it needs to be for at least 30 minutes. If you do that, we can improve your physical activity and get you ready to start a more structured aerobic exercise program.
If you have any questions, please make sure you type them in and we can ask him right now. So, Dr. Ray, one of the questions that we have is, what if I am injured or have knee problems? What do I do?
First of all, you want to get cleared by a physician. I'll go over that later on in the lecture. But if you have a limitation, there are other alternatives. They have actually bicycles for your arms. You have swimming. You have pool aerobics. These are all activities that may decrease weight bearing on your lower extremities if you have a knee or hip injury.
So another question we have is, I don't have ready access to a gym, so they don't live near one. What can I do in my house to get this 30 minutes?
That's the beauty of the physical activity program, and that is where you actually use your body weight. Go for a walk, go for a run, use your bicycle if you have a bicycle, but you're just trying to do an activity. Swim. My wife loves to swim. So go for a swim, but you are looking to get that heart rate up. How high? We'll talk about in just a bit. But get that heart rate up and start moving more, no matter what you like to do or what your limitations may be.
Okay. Another question we have here is, what if I am trying to encourage my spouse and they don't want to have anything to do with exercise? How do I motivate someone?
Well, the best motivation is setting a good example. And so once they see that you are in it for the long haul, you're much more likely to get them to join. And that's because they want to be with you, hopefully. My wife and I work out together quite often, and it's a good motivating factor. One person's doing it, well, so now I want to do it.
Okay, great. Now, are there any recommendations for children? Is it the same recommendation as this one if I want to get my kids to be involved in exercise?
Kids, there are different recommendations because it's kind of like the brand new car model. They usually have less disparities, health disparities. And so they have a higher recommendation. They recommend 60 minutes of moderate intensity a day or 30 minutes of vigorous. And so the recommendations are slightly different, but it's actually a little bit more exercise for kids.
Okay. And I know you talked about resistance training that is actually online, so please check that out on our website. What about resistance training for kids? Is that recommended?
Kids can do resistance training, but it's best to start with body weight. Push-ups, sit-ups. Kids' bones are still growing. Their growth plates are still producing and organizing bone. And so resistance training is not necessarily required, but they can do it.
Okay. And then for the last question for our little segment here is any recommendation regarding shoes? I know that's a big question that people get. Do I need to buy these $200 pair of shoes to make sure I protect myself? Like, what is your recommendation with running, jogging, crossfit?
Well, other than style, a good pair of shoes is recommended, but you do not have to be spending $130, $150, $200 for a pair of good shoes. There are a couple of stores out there that will actually fit them according to your type of foot. So the same shoe is not necessarily best for the same, for different people. So one person may need a particular shoe to fit them better because they have more of a flat foot. My wife actually has more of a high arch, so she uses a different type of shoe than I do. But you do want a good shoe that has good cushioning and a nice flexible arch support.
Great. Well, if you have any questions, please again type them in, and we will be back here in 10 minutes and hear the rest of Dr. Ray's presentation for more questions.
All right, so now we've done two things. We have decreased or minimized our sitting time throughout the day. During that time, we are being more active, and we are trying to gain a minimum of 30 minutes of moderate intensity during that time, either cumulative, all at the same time, or in different segments. So now we are going to actually move on to a more structured aerobic exercise program. And this is the one that most people think of when you think of Bally's Fitness, 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, your different fitness clubs that are out there. Here at the university, we have the Drayson Center. But just because we are in a structured exercise program, like I talked to Olivia just a second ago, is you do not have to follow or belong to a gym to perform a structured exercise program. A structured exercise program just means I'm going to spend a certain amount of time at a certain intensity to promote aerobic fitness. I'm going to increase my aerobic fitness. And that's the third tier that we're going to be talking about on this pyramid today, and that is a structured exercise program, aerobic exercise program. We can do it either a prolonged training session, where you just do all 30 or more minutes in one bout, or you can go on and do an interval training. in which you are working at a moderate intensity, and then for brief moments of that exercise bout, you go up to a vigorous intensity, and then back down to a more moderate intensity, then back up to a vigorous intensity, and so forth. So this actually burns more calories. It's kind of the new kid on the block, and it's very popular right now. But it really promotes aerobic fitness because you're pushing yourself a little bit harder than the steady, prolonged training session. When in the fitness industry we are prescribing an aerobic exercise program, we use what we call the F.I.T.T acronym. Now, F standing for frequency, how many times per week. I standing for intensity, how intensely should this exercise session be. T, time, how long should this exercise session be. And last T is type. Now today, the type is aerobic exercise. In a previous lecture, the type was a resistance training program. So, frequency, intensity, and time. How do I monitor how intensely? I can set a certain number of days per week to exercise, my frequency. I can determine I'm going to exercise for such and such a time, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But how do I keep track of my intensity? There's two main ways we use in the fitness industry. And one of them is because of technology. It makes it very easy to track our target heart rate or training heart rate. And we're trying to get our heart rate up to between at least moderate intensity, so somewhere between, depending on your fitness level, 100, 140 beats per minute. And we are going to be trying to get a percentage of our maximum heart rate. Maximum heart rate being predicted to be 220 minus your age. And then we're going to just take a percentage of that. A certain percentage for moderate intensity, a little bit higher percentage for vigorous intensity, and so forth. Another way that we use is the sing-talk test. Basically, if you can sing while you're exercising aerobically, you are not exercising hard enough. It's not bad to do this and have a relaxing walk, but you're not getting your heart rate up high enough. So if you can complete sentences while you're exercising, but you're not able to sing, then you are at moderate intensity. If you are exercising so hard or so high of an intensity that you can't carry on a conversation but at words at a time because you're breathing so hard, then the intensity is a more vigorous intensity. And although may be good for you, is not what is required for health benefits. Last but not least is before starting this aerobic exercise program, think safety. Before starting an aerobic exercise program or any exercise program, if you are unaccustomed to this exercise program and you are over 40 as a male or over 50 as a female, then you should go see your physician and get an examination and make sure that you're in tip-top shape to begin this program. Or if you are at a higher risk for cardiovascular disease, that means you have signs and symptoms. You can look these up online, but some of the main ones are, I have chest pain either at rest or when I exert myself very much. I start to get chest pain. You may feel some numbness and tingling in your jaw. Numbness and tingling down in your arm. It can be either arm. Usually your left arm, but it can be either arm. Females tend to get not necessarily a chest pain, but pain in between their scapulas or their wing bones. So if you're feeling any of these symptoms, you want to definitely see a physician. You have swelling in your lower legs, ankles, and feet it's like, wow, why are they always swollen? It's a sign or symptom that may lead you to believe, I need to go see a physician before I start an exercise program. If any healthcare professional has told you that you have a heart murmur, these are signs that, hey, I need to go get this checked out to see what that is. If I have difficulty in breathing, like we call it dyspnea, but shortness of breath, or I have a hard time breathing when I'm laying down at night, these are all things that you can say, I need to get this checked out first to be safe as possible. Or you have a known disease. I have some sort of heart disease, congestive heart failure, cardiovascular disease of some sort, hypertension, I've got diabetes, I have dyslipidemia. That's where your blood profile is less than optimal. So you would want to go check with your physician before starting one of these programs. Or you can take a simple 7-point little quiz we call the PAR-Q, your Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire. And they ask you some of these main questions that I've asked you. And so if you say yes to any of these 7 questions, then you're going to want to go seek medical advice before starting an exercise program. Once you start and you feel like, okay, I'm on the path to success, I'm on the path to physical fitness, there are a few common pitfalls that you want to be aware of. Number one is you want to make sure you have time to do it. If you don't schedule time, you're not going to have a period of time that you know, oh, from 5 o'clock till 6 o'clock in the evening, this is just what I do. So make a time that works for you. But once you start, make it fun. If I hate to swim, and that's what I'm doing for my activity, I'm not going to last very long. I may be faithful for a week or two, but I will fall out by the wayside and I will quit. So make it fun. Make it something you like. I like to run. My wife likes to swim. So make it something that you enjoy. Number 2, get a support system. This is what Dr. Olivia Moses talked about earlier. How do I get my spouse involved, my kids involved? Start going, setting an example, but try to motivate. Go with somebody to motivate them, and then they can turn around and motivate you. Find a friend, a group. At Loma Linda University, we have the Loma Linda Lopers, and that's a great support group for staying with a running program if you're into running. 3 is spice it up. Don't feel like running, oh, I have to jog, or I have to bike, I have to swim. You can do whatever it is you want. And, oh, I'm getting a little bit bored. Spice it up, switch it up. Maybe on Mondays you can swim. On Wednesdays you can run. On another day you can bike. Oh, I like the elliptical cycle. I like the Stairmaster. Spice it up. It does not have to be just one activity. So, good luck and good fitness. To stay connected, part of a group to help motivate, stay connected to Exercise is Medicine on Twitter, Facebook, or www.exerciseismedicine.org. I also gave you a couple of resources you can watch on YouTube if you want to get well motivated.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. So here are some questions. We actually have one that I find very interesting. It says, I am an 81-year-old. Should I be exercising and will it help?
Exercise will help at any age with just about any condition. Unless your physician has a specific reason in which you are not to exercise, exercise will improve no matter what level or what age you are.
Great. Now we have 2 questions that kind of go in two parts from 2 different people. So it says, I will be exercising. I've been exercising for some time now. Why am I not seeing improvement? So that's one of the questions. I think a sister question to that is, now I saw results and now I don't anymore. What can I do in my workout?
This is a common question with just about any exercise. You make improvements, and then you seem to hit a plateau, and now I'm not going anywhere. I'm just doing the status quo. One of the things is we have the rule of diminishing gains. That means the more fit you become, the more effort you have to put into it to become more fit. It's one thing to maintain, and maintaining is not bad, to maintain just a healthy lifestyle. But if you're looking to make improvements and you've stopped making improvements, you've plateaued, you're going to have to bump it up a notch. You're going to have to be more motivated to work more intensely. You don't have to work more time, but you're going to have to increase your exercise intensity to see gains.
Okay, another question is, I get tired easy. What is the best physical activity for me?
One of the easiest activities to start with is simply a stationary bike. They have what they call a recumbent bike, where you're kind of sitting back and you're just getting those legs moving. Your legs are the biggest muscle group of the body, so it's a good one to work with. And it is not difficult. It's not the pounding of running, but it will get you started. And the more fit you become, the more fit you can become.
So, of course, a lot of people exercise to lose weight. Mm-hmm. So, when they talk about cardiovascular exercise, what is the best cardiovascular exercise to lose weight?
Exercise is exercise. The more exercise you put into a given time period, it's like the old adage, what burns more, running a mile or walking a mile? Well, they pretty much burn the same amount of calories, because when you run a mile, you're working more intensely, but you're working for a shorter period of time. When you walk a mile, you're working less intensely, but you're working out for a longer period of time. So for a given time period, to burn more calories, you're going to have to up the intensity.
Okay, well, great. Yeah, answered the question.
Okay.
And these have been great questions, and we are actually at the end of our time here today on Wellness Live, and we wanted to thank you for joining us and thank Dr. Ray for being here.
Thank you.
Also want to remind you that on May 25 will be our next session, and we're going to be talking about the internet and how can you protect yourself. And I think we're all on the internet, so I think that is a great topic for all of us. And our speaker that day will be Rick Duval, who is actually in charge of security here for our IT here at Loma Linda University Health. Again, I want to thank Dr. Ray and thank you for joining us. See you next time.